डॉक्टर BN गंगाधर जी एंड डॉक्टर AG रामकृष्णा जी, बहनों से अनुरोध है कि तिलक, पुष्पगुच्छ और साथ ही बैच से हमारे इन सम्माननीय अतिथियों का स्वागत करेंगे। ने गंगा और यमुना का ही संगम देखा था, आज हम 2 सत्रों का भी संगम देख रहे हैं और उसका भी आनंद ले रहे हैं। अब अनुरोध कर रहा हूँ डॉक्टर AG रामकृष्णा को, जो सीनियर प्रोफेसर हैं MILE लैब, इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ साइंसेज बेंगलुरु, चेयरपर्सन एंड सीनियर प्रोफेसर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग, डॉक्टर AG रामकृष्णा। Please welcome.
Namaskar. The topic given to me was fortifying mental health through spirituality. So this will be my own view of this thing, So whatever I say is my own opinion. You may have your own. So first of all, recently I've been thinking that spirituality is mental health. So there is nothing to fortify. If there is no spirituality, I feel there is no mental health. The spirituality, as many of my speakers said here, is oneness. First, I think, is oneness with within yourself, your body, mind, and intellect, and then oneness with other people, and then you can expand the oneness with other beings in the world, and ultimately oneness with the universe. And when I feel that I am an individual disconnected or unconnected with others, I feel that is the beginning of the ill health of our mind. So our body, human body has, recent estimate is around 37.2 trillion cells. All of us start our journey as a human being with a single fertilized cell from our parents. And this one cell goes on dividing and, specialization they call it, and it becomes 37.2 trillion cells, and that is the body that we have. And in the process, the specialization is something like what they call epigenetic activity, because all these 37 trillion cells have the same DNA, same cell. But some cells, some of the genes start expressing and other genes are, dormant. And that becomes a, let's say, heart cell. And if a different set of genes express and others are dormant, then it becomes a heart cell. So you can change a heart cell to, even though some people will not accept it, because everything came from the same cell. So the only difference between your heart cell and a brain cell is there are genes which are expressed in one which are not expressed in the other. That's all the difference between our cells. The human body works as a single system where all these trillion cells work in unison, work as one system supporting each other. We know that if the heart doesn't work, the rest of the body doesn't get its nutrition. If the respiration doesn't work, so oxygen is not available for your brain, and in few minutes your brain will be dead. So the entire thing is a connected whole. Let's look at this from a different perspective. So what is the difference between me and any one of you? I said, we all start from one cell, and rest of it is all food. So Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Annad bhavanti bhutani. So, whatever we eat is, initially we get it from our mother's womb through the umbilical cord, and later it's a direct consumption. That's all becoming, multiple cells and finally this body. So whatever is there in your body and my body is the same idli, dosa and roti, and there is nothing else except that one cell. So then we will think that maybe the difference is in the soul, or what they call the Sukshma Sarira. But in my opinion, again, the soul is just a bundle of thoughts, memory, and our likes and dislikes. So ultimately, there is not much difference between I and you. It's all, the same food. If it's the body and rest of it is a bundle of thoughts, slightly different from I have and slightly you have a difference. So if we get this perception that all of this is the same, then that perception shifts our experience of our life. So if your perception is such that it unites you with everyone, then we see happiness, joy, community, compassion, service, etc. When our perception separates us, we see sadness, loneliness, depression, etc. When we realize that we are all one, then we shall no longer experience being alone. So that's the journey from feeling alone to experiencing all one is the journey of spirituality, in my opinion. Let's look at all the living beings in the world. The humanity cannot exist without the plant kingdom because we said, we are made of food. And the plant kingdom, again, depends on all the Panchabhutas. It requires sun for photosynthesis, it requires rain for growing, it requires air for carbon dioxide, it requires earth to support itself, it requires space to grow into. So we depend on all the Panchabhutas. And from the morning till evening, if you look at, we use so many tools, things, materials from our, starting with toothbrush to, all the kinds of things, cloths and everything that we use. Each one is made by different group of people, some of them from India, some of them even from outside. So it's a completely connected world and there is no way you can be alone. You are dependent on all of this. And when we say the food comes from the plants, even non-vegetarians, they get ultimately the things from the plant world only. And the plant world, today we cannot get anything from the plants without the farmers. And the farmers again depend on other people and the animals for the fertilizers or the pesticides and so on. So everything is connected and we are indebted to every one of them. Just think of this. Suppose I am alone in this thing like Robinson Crusoe. Can I create all of this myself? It's just impossible. So everything that we do, everything that this mic, that, all this technology, everything has been contributed by humanity as a whole, and we live in that. And that is why in Rudram it says, the world is Bhagavan's Virat Swarupam. So the feeling that I am alone or I am isolated is born of the lack of understanding or even the basic thinking of our own daily life. It's basically a thought based on our limited perception. And as I said, when you transform your perception by education, by whatever you are learning here, your experience of life transforms. The complex knots in my brain's network, they loosen. And there is peace and clarity. And realizing this wholly with your body, mind, and buddhi, I think is spirituality. And we must know that the opposite shall always exist. Good and bad, whatever the opposite. That's why Bhagavan Krishna says, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkataha. It's not good or bad, they will always be there. Once you get that, then you are at peace with yourself and the world. And being totally connected to the world or even the universe, I think it's ultimate mental health. For this, we need to shift the perception. And spirituality is nothing but whatever practice you do, which takes you in that direction of, getting that perception that I am not different from anything else in this universe. It's all made of the same thing. And people are always longing for mental health and peace in this world. That's why we see lakhs of people, they are going behind the ever-increasing the spiritual organizations or speakers, whether it is Brahma Kumaris, Art of Living, Sadhguru, Ramdas, Gopal Das, Dandapani, and so on. There is an urgent need to teach these spiritual values, I feel, in schools. However, today, the formal organized education is completely bankrupt of spiritual values. So let's all together deeply intend, pray, and work towards restoring spiritual education in our schools. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkama bhavet. Namaskar.